Security, Mr. Wayne Riley, international consultant and our featured speaker, Engineer Tony Gibbs, Chairman of the Board of Engineering of Trinidad and Tobago, Engineer Professor Winston Mellows, representatives of various state agencies, the Division Fire Officer, Mr. Ramdeo Buru, Mr. Afra Raymond, President of the Joint Consultative Council, Captain Neville Wint, who's Relief Officer of the ODPM, members of the association, fellow professionals, students, members of the media. Good morning once again, and welcome to this conference on engineering for disaster preparedness and management. Are we ready? Are we ready for a major natural or man-made disaster? Now, in recent times, we have had several incidents in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean which have given us some indication of the level of our vulnerability, like what happened in St. Vincent and St. Lucia recently. And understanding our vulnerability is critical to placing us on a path to dealing squarely with the potential for disaster and its consequences. As a small island developing state, to what extent can our economies overcome a major hurricane or flood? Now, agriculture, tourism, which are the mainstays of many countries, can immediately be set back when something like a major disaster takes place. How well can critical infrastructure, such as hospitals, fire stations, utilities, communication systems, and roadways withstand a major earthquake? Now, societies cannot function without these things. The question is, are we using the latest seismic and other information and adopting the appropriate engineering codes and standards for our infrastructure so that it will hold up? Now, what about that which is deemed non-critical, such as businesses? Are we fully aware of the risks, and do we have business continuity plans in place? Now, all of this I've described so far is the hardware. On the impact of life, do we have the systems and the level of coordination and commitment to respond to the needs of people? Are communities fully engaged? What is the impact to health and our ecosystems to a major chemical spill in the long term? Now, you notice I've only been asking questions, I'm not giving answers. The reason is I'm not a disaster expert. And you know what? Maybe no one organization or individual has all the answers or all the solutions. Allow me to quote from the late engineer Fenric Defoe at the launch of the 1998 APEC conference. Now, he was the first chairman of the Board of Engineering and the chairman at the time, and I quote, "There must be more vigorous efforts taken to spread the message that damage can be reduced, fatalities avoided, and losses minimized. How? If more appropriate planning and better engineering is applied to future structures, and engineers take on a greater responsibility to raise public awareness and to guide social, economic, and government policy to allow more efficient preparation for natural and man-made hazards." End of quote. Now, I'll relate a short experience. My family and I were in Grenada for the first time a few weeks ago. Very beautiful island, of course, and we were taking a tour. And we asked the tour guide, his name was Danny, a very casual question. "Danny, how is your family?" Well, the response was not as you would expect typically. The driver, in his response, he spent the next 20 minutes describing the horror, relating to us the damage that was done by Hurricane Ivan 10 years before, financially, physically, and psychologically. Now, he had lost his home, all his belongings, his livelihood, and with no medical assistance, available for a long while. Well, after that, one sees things in a completely different light. And not to dramatize it, but a disaster is just that, it's a disaster. But you know what Engineer Fenric Defoe said 16 years ago is true then as it is true today. The damage can be reduced, losses minimized, and fatalities avoided. So we are here today to provide an opportunity to those who have dedicated a significant part of their careers to developing systems and plans to deal with disasters and to share some of their experiences of encounters with disasters. Now, I have to tell you, when we issued the call for papers for this conference, we were pleasantly surprised with the rate of response, and you can tell from the agenda, the quality of the submissions and the speakers lined up today and tomorrow. What is particularly pleasing to me is the range of sectors we've covered or will be covered in this conference. We're going to look at power, transport, oil and gas, water, communications, roads, and others. Also, the diversity of engineering disciplines as well as scientists would bring a wealth of knowledge to the table. And it sends a signal that the engineering fraternity and other professionals have a lot to offer to this whole issue of planning for disasters. And APET is really glad to open the door to discussion and to collaboration. On this note, I would like to introduce APET's president. She's the second female president of the association in its 54-year history. She's the general manager of Lauriston Lewis Associates Limited, an engineering firm of 45 years, where she has done design work on buildings and facilities in Trinidad and Tobago and in several Caribbean islands. Now, she has served on the executive council of the association for about 5 years and counting. I don't know how she managed to do that. But ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Engineer President Margarita Leonard. Thank you.